Remember, you clap for you clap for everybody around, and let's welcome your mentor, Dom the Hypnotist.
Keep it going for Alexia. All right. Lots of great breakthroughs. I didn't hear the name of the woman who said, I allow. I absolutely love that. That's a great way to just let yourself ease into the process. So that's a great affirmation. By the way, always remember, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. What does that mean? That means that it's up to us to allow ourselves to go in that hypnotic state. If you don't want to be hypnotized, you can completely resist and just go, nope, la, 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 la. I'm not being hypnotized. Nope, you can't control me. La, 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 la. Okay? Because again, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So it's kind of like if you're going to hire a guide to walk you through the forest, okay? Can that guide, without using force you to walk down that path? No. The guide can say, hey, follow me. This is the way. It's up to you to take the steps down that path. It's the same thing with hypnosis. I'm just a guide. I'm here to guide you through the hypnotic process. If you say, I don't want to go down that trail, I don't want to go down that path, it won't work for you. So keep that in mind. All hypnosis is self-hypnosis, okay? All right, so let's dive into the next segment, which is one of my favorites, which is reality creation and manifestation. Now, unfortunately, this is one of the biggest lies in personal development, and I think it all started with The Secret, that we could just think and hope and wish and pray our ways into success. And unfortunately, that's just not how it works. Here are the facts. Creation, manifestation. You know, the word mani, literally means hands, right? That's like a manicure. That's your hands. So manifestation literally means to do the work. That's what it means, to bring whatever your thoughts are into your reality. So there's 3 steps to reality creation and manifestation. Step number 1, we just touched on, is imagine, right? Imagine the life that we want to create. Have a vision, which we're going to do here in a moment, of our ideal life. So that's step number 1. Step number 2 is to have passion for whatever it is that you're working towards. Now, there's a few reasons having passion is so important. One of the things is, as you see, the curveballs get thrown your way, the mistakes happen, the challenges come your way, and if you're not passionate about something, it's very, very easy to quit and throw in the towel. So that passion, knowing our why, is what helps us get through the resistance. It what helps us be able to go through the challenges and obstacles that we're all going to go through. And then step number 3 is to take action, right? Do the work, all right? So how do we create a fulfilling life? So this is just my beliefs. You can either accept it or reject it. It doesn't matter to me. I believe in order to create a fulfilling life, we have to do something that we're passionate about for what we do for work. Now, why is that? Well, if we're going to spend 10 hours a day, a third of our life essentially working, wouldn't it be a good idea to do something that we actually enjoy, something that we love, something that we have passion for? Now, what's interesting is you'll hear a lot of these business people say things like, oh, don't do anything that you're passionate about, you're just going to be broke, or whatever the case may be. And here's my thoughts on that. Number 1, they are saying that because they've never known what it's like to do something they're passionate about. Because if they did, they wouldn't be saying that, because it's like they don't even know this whole other realm exists. Like, oh, wait a minute, I can do work that I love. I can actually do something I enjoy, and I can make a living doing it. So they say that because in their belief structure, they don't believe it's possible for them. Now, does that mean you're going to love every single moment of everything that you do? No. There's stuff that I don't like to deal with, doing what I do, right? Setting things up and all the other stuff. That's not what, this is my passion, right? The other thing is, I think with people that say that, what they don't realize, the business people that say, oh, don't do anything you're passionate about, it's going to make you broke. What they don't realize is that they're actually passionate about business. That's what actually excites them, right? It's like playing the game, the competition. So although they're saying that, it's actually not true, because if they weren't passionate about doing business, whatever business it is, they wouldn't be successful at it, okay? So again, do something you're passionate about. Number 2, do something that you can get good at. Listen, if I want to be, the world's most handsomest hair model, I'm going to be pretty disappointed, okay? I can't get good at that unless the hair had to do with wigs. Then maybe I could win that competition. So do something you can get good at. Listen, if you're 45 years old and you want to be a professional basketball player, you've never been a professional basketball player, don't waste your time. Do something you can get good at. Maybe you could be a coach instead. You can stay in the realm of the thing that you love and be real and say, okay, I can get good at this. Okay, number 3, do something people are willing to pay you for. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to do work that you love and actually get paid for it? It's like the greatest thing of all time. I did, from 18 to 30 years old, I sold life insurance. I had some other little businesses in between there. And for the first 4 or 5 years, I was excited about it. I loved it. And then for the next 8 years, or 7 to 8 years, I completely hated it. And one of the reasons my life completely fell apart is because I lost that passion, and it was not something that I wanted to do. And I'm actually thankful that it happened, because now I get to do what I actually love. Number 4, making sure that it's good for the world, okay? Whatever it is that you're creating, whatever it is you're doing for a living, make sure that it's actually good for humanity. And again, these are my beliefs. You don't have to adopt these beliefs. If I can sit here and tell you, if somebody came to me and said, Dom, I'm going to give you this bar, and you can have the bar, you can own it free and clear. I'm going to give it to you for free. I would tell that person no, because I know the effects that alcohol have on people, and that's just not something, to me, and no offense if there's any bar owners in here, this is just my beliefs. To me, those kind of businesses destroy lives. They destroy marriages, they destroy friendships, they destroy people. So to me, I would not accept that. I promise you. And I've thought about this over and over again. I'm like, if somebody gave me a $10 million a year business and it was a bar, would I take it? The answer is no, because I believe that whatever we're going to do needs to be good for the world. Okay. Next, what is this picture here? Does anybody know what this is? Type it in the chat if you know what you're looking at. Okay. This is a desert. That's right. Now, why do I have a desert up here? Well, here's the thing. Let's imagine I'm in the middle of the desert and I really, really want some ice cream, okay? And I sit there and I go, okay, I was reading The Law of Attraction, or what's that book, The Secret. And The Secret said, if I just sit here and I think about it and I imagine it and I feel and I assume as if I have the ice cream. Do you guys really think the ice cream is going to show up in the middle of the desert? No, right? How do we actually manifest ice cream in the desert? Here's what we do. We go, okay, I use my imagination. I think about the pralines and cream ice cream from Baskin-Robbins. That's my favorite. It's been my favorite since I was a kid. And then when I think about that, I imagine, I have the picture in my mind, double scoop right here, baby, sugar cone. And then I imagine the taste of it, and I feel the passion behind it, right? I'm just like, eating it. I feel the passion. Then I go, okay, time to take action. What should I do? I'm in the middle of the desert. Okay, I know if I go east, then eventually I will find a road. So you get up, you walk towards the direction of where you want to go, and you find the next step. Okay, I've now taken action. I still don't have it yet. What should I do next? Well, there's a road. I know if I go this way, it's going to go back to town. So let me walk in this direction, and it'll go all the way back to Las Vegas. As I'm on the road, what else should I do? Okay, maybe I should put out my thumb and hitchhike. Okay, I put out my thumb and hitchhike. I get somebody in a hitchhike. They drive me all the way, and they drop me off at the Baskin-Robbins. Now, the thing is, without me getting up and moving in the direction of where I want to go, none of that happens. So again, one of the biggest lies that you can just sit around and wait for things to happen, it's simply untrue. We must take action. Here's the other thing. This is really key. You may want to write this down. Think about the signal that you're sending to the universe. When you say, I want this, but I'm not willing to work for it. Think about that. When you say, I want this relationship, but I'm not willing to work on myself to be able to become the person that can actually have this relationship. I want to make this amount of money, but I don't actually want to go out and work for it. You see how you're sending mixed signals? Part of you is saying, I really want to do this. I'm manifesting, I'm thinking, I'm feeling, I'm journaling. You're doing all this stuff. And then another part of you is completely sabotaging that and holding you back. So make sure, step number 3, you put in the action, okay? Next, anybody know what this is here? What is this here? Anybody recognize this, okay? For those of you who may not, this is a puzzle. Now, why do I share this with you? Well, I want you to imagine that I took a 5,000 piece puzzle and I just dumped it right in front of you. Bam. And then on this puzzle box, it had no picture of what you were putting together. How many of you realize it would be very, very difficult to put a puzzle together if you have no idea what you're putting together? Now, why is this important to what we're talking about? Well, guess what? If you have no vision, if you're not clear on the picture in your mind of what you want to create, it's going to be very difficult to create it, isn't it? So what must we do first? We've got to get a picture of our ideal life, of the reality that we want to create. And then we start working from there. Now, this is key, so listen up. This is where people go wrong so often. I see it all the time. They start working on their puzzle. Maybe it's a business. They go, okay, 5,000 piece puzzle, bam, throw it down on the table. And they go, okay, this piece. They go, this one didn't work, okay? This one, that one didn't work. This one, that didn't work. This one. And after about 10 pieces in a row, they go, this must be a sign from the gods. I'm just not meant to do this, right? I mean, maybe it's just not for me. It works for others, but not for me, right? You don't understand, Dom. You don't understand. And then they give up. Here's the thing about putting a puzzle together, okay? Yes, in the beginning, you're going to get a lot of mistakes. A lot of the pieces aren't going to fit together. But guess what? In the beginning, maybe it's 1 out of 20. And they start clicking. And guess what? After you have about a quarter of the picture, now when you're picking up the pieces, like 1 out of 10. Then you got 3/4 of the picture. It's like 1 out of every 3. And then before you know it, everything that you're doing is clicking. So we've got to allow ourselves, number 1, first and foremost, get a vision of what we want to create so we know what we're building. And number 2, be willing to make the mistakes long enough, putting the pieces together, knowing that eventually this puzzle is going to get easier to solve. Eventually, instead of 1 out of 20 mistakes, it's going to be 1 out of every 2. And before you know it, you have a beautiful masterpiece. And then if you're like me, you go, cool, that's done. Next. And then you bring in a whole nother puzzle and you start all over again. All right. Next. Okay. Now this is a trick question. So I'm already giving you the answer. Okay. Here's why I want you to know this. If we were to say, hey, these 2 cars, on the left-hand side is a Lamborghini. On the right-hand side is a 1988 Toyota Camry or Corolla, I forget. Now, if we were to race these cars on a 1-mile track, okay, they're both on a 1-mile track, separate tracks. We were to race the cars. Who would win the race? Let me know in the chat. Michelle said, Lambo, please. Lambo. Who would win? Okay? Guys, I told you it was a trick question. Here's the answer. It depends. Now, what does it depend on? It depends on the track. Because guess what? If on the Lamborghini's track, there's roadblocks and obstacles every 30 feet or 20 feet, guess who's going to win that race? If the Camry has a clear straight shot of a mile and the Lambo is just dealing with all of these obstacles, the Camry will win that race. Now, why do I share this with you? Here's where people go wrong so often, okay? They are the Lamborghini. They have all the potential to go really, really fast. And they think the first thing that they need to do is try to figure out how to make the Lamborghini go faster. I'll tell you what, you can turbocharge or supercharge the Lamborghini. Until you remove those barriers, it's not going to help that car. As a matter of fact, it might make it even worse. So what do you guys think? Let me know. What do you think we should do before we actually try to soup up the Lamborghini and make it faster? What do you think we should do? Camrys last longer, exactly, right? Clear the path. Clear the path. Now, what does this represent? This represents our own subconscious mind. I was the Lamborghini when I was younger. I had all this potential to go really, really fast. However, I had so many blockages in my subconscious mind that it was holding me back from fulfilling my fullest potential. So write this down. First, we remove, and then we add. Okay, first we remove, then we add. What do I mean by that? Well, if you ever go to like a good coach, let's say you're going to a business coach, okay? If you know you have a good business coach, here's what they should do. If they're going to give you like, okay, we need to implement this, this, and this in your business, the first thing they should do is not give you a whole bunch of new stuff to do. What they should do is say, hey, where are you wasting your time? Where are you wasting your resources and energy? And first, let's cut all that out. Because now that you've made room, now you can add. Again, now that we've cleared out the roadblocks, now we can supercharge the Lamborghini and get from where we're at to where we want to be in a fraction of the time. Is this making sense, everybody? Type yes in the chat if this is making sense to you, okay? Wonderful. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to think about something that you really want to create. Now, it could be very specific, like, hey, I want that green Lamborghini, Dom, right? I want a specific house. It could be a relationship. It could be a certain amount of money. It could be a lifestyle, whatever you want, okay? And I want you to think about that thing that you want that you haven't been able to create, okay? And then what I want you to do is we're going to put on the music here for a second and let you guys have a moment to yourselves. I want you to write down what disempowering beliefs and thoughts do you have that are holding you back? And I want you to just fully empty out the tank. And even if the belief sounds ridiculous, put it on there. Like I used to think, because I'm bald, nobody would want to come and do hypnosis with me. Because I have tattoos, oh my God, it's so unprofessional. Nobody would ever want to do hypnosis with a big, huge, bald guy with tattoos. That's not what a hypnotist is supposed to look like, okay? And here we are, there's 400 people on doing hypnosis. It's crazy. But again, it was a stupid belief, but it was something that I actually believed at a specific time, okay? So turn on the meditation music, and I want you to just sit here for a few minutes and just dump out all the thoughts, all the fears. Again, it's not going to work. I'm too old. I'm too young. I'm not pretty enough. I don't have enough money. I come from this kind of background. Whatever it is, I want you to get all those beliefs out on that paper. Okay, so we're going to set a timer for about 3 to 5 minutes and give you guys some time. Again, just as much as you possibly can. And once you feel like you've emptied the tank, keep going. Just really dig and see how much you can get out on that paper, okay? So I'll jump back on here in another couple minutes. We'll give you guys this time. Okay, we'll give it about another minute or two. Again, just dump all the beliefs, This is too... Okay, go ahead and wrap it up. Again, any beliefs, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, my spouse won't let me, I'm too short, I'm too tall, whatever, okay? whatever those, the internal dialogue you keep telling yourself, okay? Next, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take a look, and for those of you who've done the Saturday session, we've done the low road, high road hypnosis. This is a similar process leading into that. And here, let me tell you what we're doing and why we're doing it, okay? So what you're gonna do in a moment is you're gonna write down, if you continue to hold on to these beliefs, where will your life take you a year, 5 years, 10 years, and ultimately the end of your life? Now, here's what's interesting about this. When I take people on that journey through hypnosis, some people get offended, and it's okay, I understand. Unfortunately, the thing is that you're the one that's creating the story. Is this making sense? So whatever you write down is what you think about your own life. And don't get upset with me if I'm the one that's just holding the mirror up to you to say, hey, this is where you're headed if you don't do anything about it. Because again, you're the one that's writing it, not me. Now, here's the other thing. Let me tell you why we do this and why it's so important. Some people think that positive thinking, only positive thoughts, only positive thinking, positive thinking, positive thinking. And obviously positive thinking is very powerful, okay? Here's the challenge. If I have mold in a room in my home and I say, you know, I was listening to this manifestation coach online and they say, don't think any negative thoughts, never ever do that, only positive thoughts, right? And I say, okay, you know, I'm just not even going to think about the mold in my room. I'm just going to ignore it and only positive thoughts, only positive thoughts. Yes, the rest of 99% of my home is perfect and beautiful. What do you think is going to eventually happen? The mold's going to grow, and eventually that entire room is going to be destroyed. And if I let it go long enough, the entire house will be destroyed. So what should I do? At some point, I have to admit to myself that the mold is a problem. And after admitting that mold is a problem, I've got to open the door and face it and fix it. So some of you are maybe in denial about your weight. Maybe you've been in denial about, I don't want to think about it and I don't want to, no, I'm not overweight, I'm not overweight, I'm not overweight. Yet you're diabetic, you have high blood pressure, and your heart's about to explode. And so at some point, you got to just say, I am overweight. And I am unhappy with the way that I look. I am killing myself. And it's time that I open that door and face it. So this is why we're doing this. It's to put the mirror to our face and say, this is the problem. Let me go head first at it rather than pretending like it doesn't exist. Here's another reason why we're doing this. Okay? This is the science behind why we're doing this. When we experience trauma, our brain instantly creates new neural pathways, okay? What does that mean? Well, new neural pathways create new habits and new beliefs. So as an example, let's say you've been driving your car for 30 years and you've never been in an accident, you've been the upstanding citizen, you never speed, and you perfect driving record. Well, this person, let's say one day they get in a really bad car accident and they almost die. That person may not ever want to drive again. Now, why is that? Well, because the trauma of almost dying from a car accident, their brain instantly created a new neural pathway that says driving is dangerous, don't ever do it again. Now, they can have 30 years driving thousands of times, and all it took was the one time to instantly create that belief. So how does that apply to what we're doing? Well, guess what? If you've been telling yourself, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, my spouse won't let me, I don't know how, it won't work for me because I'm bald, it won't work for me because I'm old, because I'm brunette, because I'm blonde, whatever your excuse is, okay? If you continue to hold on to those beliefs, well, by looking at where your life is headed, if you continue to hold on to those beliefs, what's actually happening is pain becomes associated with those negative beliefs. And when the pain becomes associated with those negative beliefs, your brain goes, hey, these beliefs suck. These beliefs are no longer serving me. It is time to let them go. And you can instantly break through the fears and the beliefs and create new neural pathways in the brain that say, hey, there's plenty of people out there that would want to learn from a bald hypnotist with tattoos, okay? There's plenty of people out there that would want to be hypnotized by a 70-year-old woman or a 70-year-old man. There's plenty of people out there that would love to do real estate with a 19-year-old kid, okay? And you create new neural pathways, new beliefs that allow you to go down the path of success, okay? So here's what we're gonna do now. We're gonna set about a 7-minute timer, and I want you all to write down, if you continue to hold on to those beliefs, where your life, and be honest with yourself, be truthful. It's just between you and you. I'm not gonna grade you on this, okay? Where will your life be 5 years from today, 10 years from today, and where you will be at the end of your life? And I want you to write down everything that you missed out on at the end of your life, the biggest regrets that you have, and also how this impacted every single area. So how this impacted your relationships, whether it be romantic, your family, your friendships, your business relationship, and really your relationship with yourself. How this impacted your finances, how much you missed out on with your money and in your freedom and all that. How it's impacted your health, mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual health. And I want you to write this out at each of the 5, 10, and then end of your life, okay? So we're gonna put a 10-minute timer on. Go ahead and do that now. All right, we got about 2 or so minutes. Go ahead and wrap up your last thoughts. If you haven't been able to get to that end of life yet, go ahead and go to that moment. Again, it's the end of your life. You're reflecting back. What did you miss out on because of these beliefs? Right? I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I don't deserve it. All the fears, the fear of failure, the fear of success, the fear of rejection, the fear of other people's opinions, just all of that stuff. Think about everything that you've missed out on in your life because of those beliefs. A little bit here, go ahead and wrap it up. Wrap up your last thoughts. And if you'd like to journal more on this, I recommend doing that tonight after we're done. Spend some time with yourself and really dive deep. And then keep this for tomorrow. We're going to use these, and then I'll tell you what to do with it on Sunday when you're done. Keep these notes for tomorrow. We're going to use it in an exercise. Okay? So now, what we're going to do next is I want you to write down. Now, it's important that you write things down rather than just passively listening, because studies have shown that when we write things down, we use about 144 muscles in our body as compared to typing. We only use a handful, maybe 10 or so. So we write things down, we're really able to sink in and embody what we're doing here. The other thing is, again, if you're just passively listening and you're not doing the exercises, like, what are you even doing here? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're here because you want to achieve a breakthrough. You're here because you want to improve. Part of that is physically doing the exercise, right? So make sure you're writing down, you're doing the process. So now what we're going to do is I want you to write what new empowering beliefs that you're going to install moving forward. So if you don't know what those empowering beliefs may be, just take whatever you wrote down and then just think of what's the opposite. So if you wrote down that, hey, nobody would want to be hypnotized by me because I'm bald and I have tattoos, you can say, hey, there are plenty of people out there that would love to be hypnotized by a bald tattoo guy, right? If it's I'm too tall, I'm too short, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, then it would be I am good enough, I am worthy, I do deserve this. If it's a fear of failure, it's like, hey, I actually invite making mistakes. I invite the obstacles and the challenges. If it's a fear of what other people think, it's like, hey, I do what I want to do for me. I no longer worry about what other people think, and I do what makes me happy. If it's fear of rejection, it's like, hey, I know that when I get rejected, I'm just one step closer to my goal. So write down what those beliefs are. And really quick, look up here for a second. I'm going to give you a couple keys and a couple things to remember, okay? As you start to write these beliefs down, and in a moment when we start vision casting what we want to create on the positive path, I want you to keep a couple things in mind, okay? Number one is either ors create conflicts, ands create resolution. What do I mean by that? Well, if you say, hey, I either can have this or this, it creates an internal conflict. So it's like I either can have money and be successful or have a family, but I can't have both, okay? Ands create resolution, meaning I can have massive success in my business and I can have a family and I can be in shape. So if you start to pigeonhole yourself and to think, okay, I can't have it all, or it has to be this or this, I want you to think in terms of and, okay? I can have this and this. I can do this and this, okay? Another key to remember, and this might be one of the most important things I can teach you, is to keep what you're going to write about your vision a year, 5 years, 10 years down the road, keep it within your sweet spot. Now, what is your sweet spot? You're probably wondering. Your sweet spot is on a scale of 1 to 10, you believe what you're writing down for your goals, your vision, your dreams, you believe at an 8 or a 9 that it will actually come true. Now, how do we determine out of 8 or a 9? Well, I want you guys to think about this for a second, okay? I want you to pretend that somebody asked you, is your name your name? Meaning, let's pretend somebody asked me, hey, is your name Dominique? I would say, yes. Are you sure? Yes, absolutely, 100%. There's zero doubt my name 100% for sure is Dominique. You can also think, is 5 plus 5 equal 10? Yes. I hope you guys are all on board with me on that one, okay? Is 5 plus 5 10? Yes. So why am I sharing this with you? Well, because 10 is that level of certainty. 10 means there's zero doubt. It's a fact. You know 100% that what you're saying is true. Okay? So now here's a couple important things. If you notice, I didn't say write down your vision and you need to believe 100%, 10 out of 10, that it will come true. Now, why wouldn't we do that? Why would we not make it a 10 out of 10? Well, I'll tell you why. If something is a 10 out of 10 and you know for sure that you will achieve your goal 100%, you are not stretching yourself. You are not stepping outside of your comfort zone. If you know, right? If you know for 100%. So write this down. If something is too easy, it creates boredom and disinterest. Okay, so how does that apply to what we're talking about? Well, if you know a 10 out of 10, there's zero doubt. Again, it's factual. This will happen. It's not going to be exciting to you. You're going to get bored of it, and it's not going to stretch you outside of your comfort zone. So there's a reason why we would never watch an NBA basketball team play a high school basketball team. Now, you might watch it for the first 20 minutes or whatever. You might watch one game, but after that, you'll never watch it again. Now, why is that? Well, because we know 100% for sure that the NBA team is going to win that game. Again, if we know 100% certainty, we get bored and disinterested. So what do? So here's another thing you want to write down. Notice I didn't say, hey, on a scale 1 to 10, you believe at a 5 or a 6 or even a 7. Now, why did I say that? Well, because guess what? If something is too difficult, it creates stress and things break. So here's how that applies to what we're saying. Let's imagine that you are brand new to working out and you have a goal of lifting 300 pounds. You're like, I want to squat 300 pounds, okay? And you've never worked out before, you can only lift 150 pounds. Well, if you say, hey, guess what? Next week, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to lift 300 pounds, okay? You're delusional. You go to the gym. Guess what's going to happen as soon as you put that 300 pounds on your back? What's going to happen? Let me know in the chat. Your body is going to collapse. It will be like it'd be like you have no body. You're basically just collapse like this, okay? And you're going to hurt yourself. Why is that? Because it's too difficult too soon. It creates stress, and this is how things break. So this is one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make when it comes to creating their vision. Their ego gets involved, or maybe they compare themselves to other people, and they say, hey, so-and-so is going to make $50 million this year. That means I've got to make $50 million. But you might be stuck at $5 million. Well, guess what? $50 million to $5 million, $5 million to $50 million is a huge gap, okay? You might look at so-and-so's making $500,000. I'm only making $100,000. That means my goal this year is I want to do $500,000. But if we were to really sit down and I hooked you up to one of those machines that tell a lie detector test, and I were to ask you, what's your belief on a scale of 1 to 10 that this will happen? Not that it can, but that it will. And if it's anything less than an 8, do not make it your goal. Because again, it's going to stress you out. It's actually going to create more problems than had you not created it in the first place. Okay. Now, here's the beautiful thing about this. Okay, and this is why this is so important. When you make your goal, which we're going to do here in a second, you are making it based off of your current life experience. You're making your vision based off of your current belief system. Okay? So guess what? What that means is that when you go out and you take action, and let's pretend it's a business idea. Hey, I want to make X amount of dollars. Well, guess what? You take action this week, next month, now you have new data. You have you've gone out, you've put in the work, and you've gotten feedback. So guess what ends up happening? You adjust your goal and your vision as you get that new data, as you get that new feedback. So let me share with you how the most powerful time I've ever used this in my life, okay? And I promise you it's like magic. The challenge is most people get stuck in their ego. Most people want to believe that they could do things that they're currently not truly ready for, and it destroys everything. Now, I'm not saying to not think big. Don't get it twisted. What I'm saying is you have to go with where you're currently at, and as things improve, you adjust. So let me share with you how I've used this in my life. So for those of you who don't know, the way I got into hypnosis, my mom bought me a hypnosis course, okay? And I went to this course, and I had no desire, at least consciously, that I wanted to be a hypnotist, okay? And to be real with you, I thought I put hypnotists in the same category as magicians and ventriloquists and illusionists. For those of you who know what a ventriloquist is, it's the guys who make the dolls talk and they talk out of the side of their mouth, okay? So when I went to the hypnosis course, I had zero, I'm like, those guys are dorks, that's not me, right? Well, when I went to the hypnosis course, I realized it wasn't what I thought it was. I'm like, oh, this is actually really powerful stuff. And in the 2.5 days that I went to this course, I completely transformed as a person. Like I was not the same dude that I walked in there as. When I got out of this course, I walked different, I talked different, I stood different, I felt everything about me was different. And I remember it was a Monday when I got out of the course. I remember being in my apartment and literally looking up to the ceiling, and I put out my arms like this, and I literally said, oh my God, like this is it. This is the thing I've been searching for my whole life. I just didn't know it. And the reason why is because I thought, if I can help people feel like I feel right now in that short amount of time, 2.5 days, and I can make a living doing it, I said, sign me up. Now here's the challenge. Here's the challenge. I'm excited. Cool. But guess what? I don't really know what the hell I'm doing. Okay? I went to this thing. I'm like, okay, I hypnotized the people in the course. Cool. Now I started thinking, okay, everybody paid to be in the course. Were they just playing along? Will this actually work with people outside of the course? All these doubts, right? So when I got out of the course, I knew this is what I wanted to do. I had no idea how it was going to happen. So here's what I did. And here's where the sweet spot comes into play. This is why this is so important. When I got out of the course, I said, listen, I don't know really what I'm doing. So I know this is what I want to do. So here's my sweet spot vision. I thought to myself, okay, if I can transition over from doing insurance to doing this hypnotherapy full time within 6 months or sooner, and I didn't even care if I made the same amount of money. I was just happy if I could pay my bills. I'm like, if I could just pay my bills, I don't even have to replace my income. If I could just have enough to skate by every single month, that would be good for me. Okay? So 6 months. So write this down. Every time you make a goal, especially when it's income related, you always want to say to yourself, consciously, so that it goes in the subconscious. You say, and or better, and or sooner. What do I mean by that? Well, if you say, hey, I want to manifest this kind of house. I want a 5-bedroom house. And this specific one, you're actually cutting yourself off from a even better house, right? If you say, hey, I want to make 10 grand a month, and you don't say or more, you're limiting yourself to 10 grand a month. So every time you make a vision, every time you do a goal, always say or more, and again, and or sooner. So what does that mean? I said to myself, I want to be able to pay my bills or better, make more than that, and I want to do it within 6 months or sooner. Okay, and now this is so important. If you mess this up, it will take you longer to achieve your goals, and you will be limited by achieving your goals. Let me actually share with you an example of why it's so important to be very specific with the subconscious mind. So I told you guys earlier, one of my Patriot clients told me about Tom Brady's dad, who was a hypnotist, right? So I started working with this gentleman, and what we did in the very beginning of the year is we set his goals. He said, hey, I want to have the most interceptions and pass deflections on the team, okay? So we did that, and we worked on it throughout the season. Now, here's what's interesting. End of the season rolls around, and he goes, Dom, I was looking back on all of our notes from the beginning of the year, And he's like, I discovered something interesting. He's like, I wrote down that I wanted to have the most interceptions and pass deflections on the team. He said, and I actually achieved the goal. And I was sitting there thinking like, no, you didn't. I watched like all your games. You didn't have the most on your team. And he said, this is the funny part. He said, I achieved my goal, but here's the problem. I had the most interceptions and pass deflections in practice. Oh my God. I was like, dude, I didn't know I needed to be that specific. Like, damn, I thought we know that it's obviously in the live game. So this is why this stuff is so important. So whatever goal you put, it's or more and or sooner. Now again, sweet spot. Going back to what I was telling you. I said 6 months, I want to pay my bills or better 6 months or sooner, okay? Well, guess what happened? That first week I went out, I hypnotized probably 45, almost 50 people, and I did it all for free because I didn't know, I was like, okay, I just got to get practice. So I'm hypnotizing everybody. Some of them are short sessions, some of them are longer. Well, guess what? After you do 45 sessions in that amount of time, guess what happens to my confidence? Remember what I said? I go out, I take action. I gather data. I have new information. Now my confidence increased. So my sweet spot changed. So in 1 week, I went from thinking it was going to take me 6 months. And now I said, you know what? If I stay on this track, I can actually take what I think is going to take me 6 months and do it in 3 months by my birthday, June 1st. That's what I said in my head. I'm like, okay, by my birthday or sooner, I'm making whatever the amount of money or better. So guess what? Next week after that, I went out and took action. Now this time I had a little bit more confidence. So what I said is, hey, I'll do a free session. I just want a testimonial in return so that I can post it to my social medias. So another week goes by, and within those 2 weeks, I hypnotized about 100 people. In 2 weeks of the day, I remember waking up, okay? I went to go sell insurance. I had 10 appointments on my calendar. And I remember as I was walking out the door, I literally went to go walk out the door, and it was like something just stopped me. It was my soul, my spirit, whatever. And I said, you know what? I'm done with this. So I messaged my assistant. I said, hey, Rochelle, do me a favor. Call everybody on today's calendar and tell them I'm not coming in today. And I said, that's it. I'm never selling another insurance policy ever again in my life. And I quit. And here we are now 6.5 years later, working with a couple hundred people online. Isn't that cool? Now, why do I say this to you? If I would have told myself, hey, guess what, Dom? In the next 2 weeks, you have to figure out how to get people to pay you enough money by hypnotizing them to be able to replace your income. And you got to do it with, you've been doing insurance basically from 18 to 30, 12 years of your life. You have to quit doing something you've been doing your entire professional life to hypnotize people. Oh, by the way, you're in massive amounts of debt. You had your car repossessed and you have a baby on the way. And you have to figure out how to do that within 2 weeks. Can anybody guess what my belief that I would have been able to achieve that within 2 weeks would have been? Let me know in the chat. What do you think the number would have been? Okay. Thank you. 0. It wouldn't even have been a 1. I would have said it's impossible. And guess what? When our goals are too big too soon, it actually creates that resistance and then we don't take action on it. And I would have said, it's impossible. Don't even worry about it. So this is why it's so important. Again, this is where most personal development people mess up is they go too big too soon. It creates stress. It creates doubt. People procrastinate. They don't actually get to do it. And then 10 years goes by and they're wondering what the hell happened. We've got to keep things within our sweet spot because when we keep them within our sweet spot, again, 8 or 9, that little bit of doubt is there to stretch us beyond what we're comfortable with. If it's too much, you're taking the 300 pounds, you're putting it on your back, you're going to hurt yourself. And then you're just going to be like, you know what? I'm never working out again. Or, you know what? I'm never dating again. You know what? I'm never starting a business again. It's too much. It was too much for me. So you've got to do it in those incremental steps and build on yourself. Okay. So I just cover this and or more better and or sooner. And again, if you don't know, you can always change it. All right. One key to remember, what is your why? Okay. What is your why? Why are you doing the things that you're doing? I heard this quote the other day. It was so good. This gentleman said, if you think about the reason that you won't kill yourself. So I want you, everybody right now, think about the reason you're not going to kill yourself. What that reason is? What had popped up in your head? That is the meaning of life to you. Isn't that interesting? It's like, I wouldn't kill myself because I got my family, I got my kids, I got my team. So guess what that means? That's my meaning of life. That's why I do the things that I do. So in remembering your why is imperative, and here's why. Let's pretend you're somebody who wants to get in shape. And you want to get in shape because you want to be healthy, you want to live long, to be there for your grandkids, okay? But you keep forgetting your why. You don't remind yourself of it. And then you're going there, you're going to the restaurant with your friends, and everybody's going around the table, they're eating pizzas and burgers and pastas. And then you're smelling that smell of the restaurant. You planned, you told yourself, you're like, I promise, I'm going to go out, I'm just going to order the chicken salad, I promise. And then guess what? When the server comes around to you, you say, you know, let me get the pizza as well, right? Now, why did that happen? You forgot your why. Now imagine that in this moment, same scenario, I popped in and said, hey, John, remember you said you want to lose 100 pounds so you can be there for your family, so you can be an example to them. Guess what you do in that situation? You go, you're right. I'll take the chicken salad. So remember your why. Why are you even doing what you're doing? Okay? So now, what we're going to do now, we're going to journal for a few minutes. I want you to imagine all your fears, all the negative beliefs are gone. And now we've installed the opposite of those, the positive beliefs, the confidence, the focus, the good, I am good enough, I do deserve it, all that, okay? So imagine, just pretend. I know sometimes it's hard and then all that. Just pretend like the world is your oyster, okay? You have the mindset, the identity of somebody that can go out and create what they want. What I want you to do now is you're going to begin to write down what's your life going to be like 1 year from today. What's your life going to be like 5 years from today? What's your life going to be 10 years down the road? Now, if you don't know exactly what to write about, I'll give you a couple of things on the screen here. So this could be the place that you live in and places you've traveled, your relationships, so whether it's family, romance, friends, network, business, okay, all your relationships. Lifestyle, so what are your hobbies? What's your day-to-day living like? Okay, what is your health like, mind, body, spirit? Okay, any material possessions you may want to have, cars, homes, vacation homes, whatever stuff, okay? Accolades. So what have you achieved? You know, is it being the top rep in your company? Is it expanding your business and feeding 100 people, 1,000 people, whatever, okay? And then last but not least, giving back to others. So we're gonna take about, 10 minutes, okay? And you'll have time tonight, you can work on this tonight. And I want you to just sit there with yourself and okay, if I have the beliefs, I am good enough, I can do it, there's no fear, all of these things, where's my life going to be 1 year from today? And use this, we'll leave this up on the screen for you. Where's my life going to be 5 years and 10 years down the road? And again, keep it within your sweet spot. If you're maxed out on your credit cards right now, making $1 million in the next year, probably not in the cards for you. Not to say it's impossible, probably not going to happen though. So keep it within your sweet spot and always remember, as time goes on, we gather new data, we build our confidence, and then we just adjust it. Just because you said this is your goal right now doesn't mean you can't improve it and change it, okay? So keep it within your sweet spot or more or better or sooner, okay? So let's take the next 10 minutes to do this now, and then after that, we'll go to break.